So, you're a presenter. You've been, I think you're extremely well versed in Indian football. So, how did this journey begin? How did you end up becoming a presenter?
I mean, sometimes it seems like the greatest coincidence. Sometimes feels like an accident, or you can call it the grandest design of God. I was actually in a corporate job back in England, and
Oh,
I was resigned to possibly doing that for the rest of my life. Not that it's a bad thing. I mean, I have a lot of respect for people who sit at desks with a laptop open in front of them.
yeah.
I have done my share of Excel modeling and SAP systems handling and all of that. But I had a master's in media and communications from Jamia Millia in
Okay.
Delhi. So the ambition was always to get into the media side of things. Unfortunately, I didn't think that I was either good enough or I was going to be paid enough with the kind of degrees that I had. I said, okay, maybe this is not quite going to work out the way I thought it would. With this media degree, a lot of people who were in my batch in the mass communication research center where I was doing my master's wanted to get into filmmaking. That's not something I wanted to do.
Okay.
I wanted to face the camera or to be able to hold a mic and do commentary or just be a sports journalist at the minimum. And that I didn't see too many options that time in India. So I thought, okay, maybe I should go and do a master's in sports journalism outside and try and see if there's some work outside.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I landed up in a city where there was a very sort of conservative and xenophobic climate, and I realized very quickly that my skin color and my accent are going to come in my way. And to be fair, the dean of the place where I went to even told me in no uncertain terms that maybe you should try your luck behind the camera because you'd possibly be better off doing that. I already had a master's in media and communications. I'd done my share of video editing, the Final Cut Pros, the Avids, and handling Arri cameras and all of that. And I felt I did take it to heart a little bit, thinking, why do I need to be here when I already have that qualification? I
Yeah.
need to be facing the camera now because that's why I've landed up, where I have. So unfortunately, the dean and the university didn't see it that way, and I had to cut my losses because I'd taken a huge student loan to go there, convince my dad that I'm 23, but I still need to do another master's. And eventually, as it turned out, that master's never really happened. I moved out, and I decided to, uh, get into a corporate job with another diploma under my belt in an economics field. So I got there, started the job with British Gas in England,
Okay.
and a couple of years down the line, I was flirting with the idea again of whether I should continue in this or should look for a bit of an upgrade. And then one day I was shifting apartments. I was at this place called the Indian YMCA in London, and I happened to meet these guys from ESPN Star who were having lunch over there, and they put up a big notice saying they're looking for Premier League commentators based out of England who speak good Hindi. Luckily for me, I did. I've grown up in a family of Hindi writers. I could speak reasonably good Hindi, and I went and chatted with them. I gave my auditions. 6 weeks later, I was at Stamford Bridge commentating on Chelsea versus Man
Wow.
City.
And
It was a Mourinho.
that's when you started supporting Chelsea, I'm assuming.
No, I've been supporting Chelsea, or should I say, I've been empathizing with Chelsea for a very long time. I think they were the underdogs in the early 2000s when the Ranieri era was still on. That's a different story. But I mean, there are a lot of people who are United supporters, and I've said this before as well. There were people who were wearing red all the time in front of me. There was either Man United or there was Henry 14 jerseys of
Yeah.
Arsenal, which is basically red. And then there were NBA jerseys with Chicago Bulls, which were basically red. So you know how kids are growing up, 13, 14. I like blue, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes as simple as that. We went to the hills, during a midterm break in my boarding school, and I saw this guy wearing a Gianfranco Zola jersey, 25, blue in color. That looks good. Zola's it rang a bell because of somebody who played with Maradona back in the day. So, yeah, I think this jersey is one I want to get. It turns out he was playing for Chelsea then. I started following Chelsea's progress, and I realized they're the team that could surprise in the early 2000s. They were like the Southamptons of the
Yeah.
world that time. So, okay, good players, may not always win, but they'll always put up a fight, and that's how Chelsea's story began back in the day. And
Wow.
then, yeah, I mean, as luck would have it, eventually I find myself commentating on my first game which happened to be Chelsea. So I'm extremely grateful to ESPN Star that they gave me the opportunity to do that, and I'm extremely grateful to them that they gave me the opportunity to come to India because the ISL was starting in 2014. After doing a year of Premier League, traveling across 20 stadiums, they asked me if I'd want to join the team in Mumbai for the ISL, which was starting in October 2014. And then I said, okay, let me
Think
test
about
the
it.
idea. Yeah, let me think about it. Let's see if it works out. And how bad can it be? It turned out to be pretty good. I moved from Stamford Bridge to Salt Lake Stadium, thanks to a man called Gaurav Gala, who had given me the phone call and said, I work for ESPN Star and I'd like you to be a part of the ISL coverage for this year. So